On one side, there's an administrator who becomes corrupt to obtain personal advantages and remain in command, relying on a network of cronies in power who, likewise, become corrupt to extract personal advantages from him, covering for one another, protecting one another to the bitter end, knowing that if one of the cogs in this sordid machine breaks, the entire mechanism is ruined and at risk. On the other, there's the person who becomes corrupt to achieve a prominent position over others, using the aesthetic resources at their disposal to convert them into weapons of temptation, without concern for the results of their attempts, as long as they can derive personal advantages from them to use at the right time. Trading on the fragile emotions that human weaknesses allow to take root within individuals, creatures who behave with such primitivism are dangerous sources of social discord, leaving behind a trail of tears, emotional frustrations, and karmic commitments for many future incarnations. Thus, dear reader, there is no position of social or personal advantage that does not come at the cost of the spiritual responsibility with which it must be exercised. If you are to command anything from a house to a country, do not forget that you are being called to lift others up with examples of righteousness and virtuous selflessness. Should you defraud this divine mandate, of which you are but the humble executor, countless afflictions will visit your path, and the abyss of remorse and pain will open for you to plunge into. Visions of desperate mothers carrying emaciated children will appear before your eyes, which will vainly try to close themselves to escape this horrifying panorama. The lamenting voices of patients without hospital beds, crying out in pain in the streets where they died for lack of care due to the bleeding of public resources into private pockets in the form of commissions, bribes, interest, and consulting fees, will be the tormented legacy of those who benefited from resources stolen from the people and missed by those who suffered. The material advantage they represented in a few moments of fleeting pleasure will mean nothing compared to the moral pain the individual will have to endure for a long time to come. This is not, however, arbitrary and unjust divine punishment. It is the harvest of the bitter fruits of a vicious sowing, which always teaches the farmer the necessary lesson to learn that acting in disrespect of his fellow human beings was not worth it.